All right. What's going on, everyone? If you've been following along, you know that her Jeep likes being worked on. We did a cruise control module after we did the V8 swap, and it keeps burning out our
clock spring.
So we're not going to put it back in. The problem is now we have to replace the clock spring. When that goes bad, it's behind your steering wheel, and it's what sends signal to your steering wheel controls, your horn, all that. That's why when you turn, it doesn't like twist wires. It has a circuit board that it rotates on. And when it goes bad, it actually causes all kinds of weird things to happen. It'll cause your gauge cluster to go completely dead randomly. It can cause your horn to honk when you go to turn. You'll lose your controls on your steering wheel for your menu, your volume for your radio and your other buttons. So it's a real big thing, and it's pretty common on JKs to go out even without a V8 swap, just a bone stock one. It's pretty common. We're going to show you how to do this with no specialty, nothing. There's only one tool that you will have to go and rent unless you have it, and that's a puller to pull the steering wheel off. I will say right off the bat, start off with disconnecting your battery. I don't normally get all weird about that, but you're dealing with an airbag. Kill your power, let it sit for a while. They have little capacitors and stuff, but you're only unplugging it, you're not cutting wires. So a couple bolts to take off. 10 millimeter. I'm using a deep socket. You can use a shallow as well. And just a ratchet. Comes right in the back of the steering wheel. There's no plug here, no cover. At least ours didn't have any. And it just goes straight in. One on this side, then there's one on the direct other side as well. Okay. Now will you pull out of there? Yes. Now don't go yanking, because this has got the connectors on it. This is all the further out you can get this, really, before you run into problems. So the yellow connectors are the ones that'll deploy your airbag, and that's on any vehicle. Also, yellow connectors are safety systems. So there's one small connector that is just for the horn. I'm looking to see if there's a lock on it or not. Does not look like it has a lock on it. So that one's off. I really want to put my hand through here. I don't know why. Now they got two squeeze tabs. They work really good. If you can get your fingers to squeeze them. Okay.
Got one.
When I get this off, I'll show you. There's these two tabs. See on the yellow how it's got the little cross thing here? There's two tabs on each side you got to push in. So you got to squeeze it, and that pulls in the little locking tabs that hold it in place. That's off. This is probably the scariest part for anybody. I don't even like doing it, right? Well, we gotta get the center bolt out. I have an extension and a deep socket. I'm also going to use a long ratchet because I know me. I put this on last. I got it tight. Okay. So far, nothing crazy. Having a long ratchet or a cheater bar on there would have helped, you know. I just gotta try it. I really doubt we'll be lucky. Usually now is when you have to have a puller because it's splines on. But sometimes you get lucky.
Did my seat just lock?
Yep. Oh, I got it though. Okay.
Now is it gonna go back on?
Yes.
I don't want to buy another one.
So, well, that was fun. Okay. I don't know if I mentioned unplug this.
Before you pull the steering wheel off, otherwise you'll pull that right out.
Unplug this. It's a pretty simple connector. Just so, yeah. Don't forget.
Okay.
Now that it's off, I can show you the pullers that they have. I have like a little jaw. It's got a bar that goes across with the bolt that goes through center-wise, and it pushes on this. And it's got jaws that go through these holes with little hooks on them. And it hooks on there. And you can pull it out. I successfully used a 3-jaw puller.
The last time.
Yep. It was tricky, but I did. But you can rent these tools from AutoZone,
O'Reilly's, Napa, CarQuest.
Still, what you do is you go leave a deposit. You go and basically buy the tool. All right, you go and buy the tool, but you're allowed to return the tool once you're done. So you don't have to keep the tool. Ideally, you're not doing this a bunch. So
Unless you got 17 vehicles.
Unless you can't leave stuff alone and you like to mess stuff up, then you'll do it a lot. One thing that I didn't think about until I was doing it, you're gonna need a long Torx bit. Now they do have Torx bits that are just like an L Allen wrench. They do have them in Torx as well. Otherwise,
Harbor Freight.
Probably gonna have to buy it. This is a T20. You have 3 screws. One is right here, nice and easy. The other 2 go way up here through these holes. So you have to have a long one. You can also get like screwdriver style Torx bits as well, where it looks like a regular screwdriver. We'll do the easy one first. And now these ones are a little tricky. Okay. There it is. And it's got just little tabs that push up and in the sides. And I got my lock down already. So you just come down and slide it off. You gotta get these mounting bolts off. And there's one right here as well that'll go through the face. Another thing too, if you're not really good at remembering where bolts go, you can just drop it in the new one as you're going, where they came out of. So like I could put this one in here. That way you don't have to worry about necessarily getting it mixed up. So there's 2 screws that come straight down from the top. Careful so you don't tear up your gauge cluster too. Because if you got something rubbing against it, this plastic will mark easily. Well, so down on the bottom, this is where ours is going to look a little different than you guys's, except for you're still going to have connectors going in here. So you got these connectors. You just unplug them. You just unplug them. Just like unplug them. Okay. And this one off to the side. Okay. The only reason we're saying ours is a little different because we got an extra harness in there that we're going to be taking out. So you guys won't have to worry about that. You're still going to have connectors there, but all this extra stuff won't be there.
Unless you do have a Hemi swap from either Jeep Speed Shop or America's Most Wanted. They both use a cruise control module on the 12 and ups to keep the cruise control to work.
But we're just not going to bother because we've not had good luck with them. And undo this connector. Oh my God, that might have scared me half to death. So we'll start on this side. Okay, once the screw is out, it slides into this. There's a little notch that just slides on. Just slide it out. You don't have to unplug these connectors because they just go from one to the other. But you just need to be careful and not tear them up. This one has another screw in it. Gotta take this screw off.
Magnetic tip.
Mm-hmm. Just the tip.
It's not what she said.
This one slides out to, they both slide opposite of how the screws hold them from sliding out. How about that? We'll say it that way. So now we got to put these back on. Go in your home.
Oh God.
Come back. Remember that screw I put in there so you guys would know where it goes?
Don't do that.
It knows where it wants to go.
To the floor.
To the
Probably
abyss.
under the seat.
Don't know. We'll find it. Okay, then these wires tuck in here, just underneath this plastic. I'll worry about that in a second. Once I get this slid in there, I suppose it'd be easier probably to get this finagled in place. There we go. Now it's slid in place. I'm gonna get them all tucked in there so you don't pinch them. Now it's just time to put the little screws in. Remember, you're going into plastic. Does not take much of anything as far as tightening these screws. I'm just going down to where it basically touches, because these little plastic tabs will snap so easy. Now that we got these back on, got the wires tucked in this plastic so it doesn't get pinched or anything silly. Got our screws in, holding it in place. Where's this one at? Right there. Slide it up on here and connect this, plug in, make sure it sits how it's supposed to. The plastic needs to sit all the way down on to the metal. If it's not sitting on there, we need to move it around some to get it to drop in place. But I am sitting good. Don't drop your screws. Just gonna get it in there loosely. I'm not gonna go crazy yet. All three are started. Now I can snug them up. Once again, does not take much of any. And don't forget to snug this one up. Hey, plug in the bottom of your module. Don't put your plastic on yet. That was almost stupid. And they'll only go in one spot, so you can't really get this part mixed up at least. Now we got all of our connectors plugged in. We got the one up top plugged in already, so go like this. Let the steering wheel pop up again. Now it's time to install this. Same procedure, just slip it through. There's a slot in the rubber. Just slip it through there. If you don't have 30 other projects going on, this is a good time to clean this really good. So you gotta kind of slide these. You'll see where the plastics go together. You gotta kind of slide them in place. Now getting these in can be a treat. I don't know if it's in or not. Oh, there we go. I felt it slide up and in there that time. This one, I can feel it actually grabbing. I know that one started. Finally got it started. Now we got that all back on there. We can go and put this on. Wires go through the top there. On the shaft, there's an area of splines that is not, it's missing a spline. In here, I don't know if you can see the thicker one here, right from my fingernail. So this one's thicker. That has to go onto the one up here that's missing a spline too. There, as long as you can see it, it's pretty easy. Put the bolt in. Actually, I'll put a little dab of Loctite on it, which isn't a bad idea. That way it doesn't come loose on you. All right. Well, we are in. At this point now, you can pull your little cutie pie out. And install your connector. That's on and locked. I was starting to wonder if that was going to work, but it did. Yeah, you can't get them mixed up. The way they lock in place, they are different, so you don't really have to worry about that. Make sure they're snapped in all the way. Don't forget to plug your horn in. Unless the person uses the horn too much, then...
Hey. People need to get out of the way.
This is probably the biggest pain in the butt right now, I think, honestly, is trying to get
everything plugged back in.
My fingers in there. There we go. Okay. Are they like in... We got it. That's on. We got to get our bolts in there. Ta-da! Now essentially hook your battery back up and that's it. You test your functions. But if they don't work, I got bad news. You either got yourself a clock spring that doesn't work,
or you got other issues.
But the clock spring is very common on these. It'll do all kinds of weird stuff.
Well, look at Devin's.
Yeah. Actually, that'd be kind of cool. I know a lot of people watch this probably have already had to replace their clock springs. Put in the comments, what was yours doing that made you have to replace your clock spring? What was Devin's doing?
So his horn would randomly go off. Even when he was going straight, his instrument cluster was going haywire like mine was. Devin also ran with his top off when it got nice. As much as you guys think these are waterproof, this does not like getting wet. Yeah. I've sprayed the bottom of mine, though those don't care. This does.
Yeah, it will affect them some, so you don't want to like
pressure wash it.
Yeah, and like we get some pretty good storms. It's really not that bad to do. I mean, I fought with our plastics, but like I mentioned earlier, we've had these plastics on and off
10 times at least.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay. So all of her little locking tabs and screw, it's all kind of just boogered up. So
they're wore out. It's plastic.
Yeah. So total recap on all the tools I used was ratchet. I had 2 ratchets, but you don't really need 2. Ratchet, extension. You could probably use a 6, maybe a 3-inch, 6-inch, 3-inch. It might have been too short. 13 millimeter, 10 millimeter, T20 long reach, and then a Phillips. And then I used a magnet because I'm not great with the fingers, they don't work.
And then whatever is needed to disconnect your battery setup.
Yes, true. Ours is completely different. Not even worth talking, you know.
It's back here.
We unhooked the positive, so. But you can unhook both if you want. You might need to use the puller. I know we had to the first time. You can rent it. You know, it's a steering wheel puller designed for Chrysler.
Yeah.
They have some where it's just a hole. Actually, this just got really good. Fun fact, guys. I didn't think that I had this, but I do. This is the one that we used, or that can be used to pull this off. Here you go. Performance tool W80651. I do not remember where I bought it. But
I don't even know who sells performance tools.
I don't know. Maybe I bought it in town or ordered online. I'm not sure. I got this together now. But if you remember in the video where I showed you where the hooks go in, I'd have it way out like that. You take this. You want the hooks going in. See how they're got the square part on here? So you do that. And then you're going to put those in those 2 holes that are on the side of the bolt. And you're going to slide them inward as much as you can on the steering wheel. And
so it grips it like a crab.
Yes. And then you're going to tighten this bolt right here.
And you can use an impact. That's what most people do.
Yeah, but if you don't have, you can do it with a ratchet.
It's just going to be more difficult.
I would use a shallow, well, it don't matter. You can use any socket on there. You're going to have to hold the steering wheel as you're turning the ratchet. Okay? And you just tighten this, and it'll push the steering wheel off. Now, they have other attachments in here too. I think what I did, I think I put the bolt back in, and I threaded it in a couple turns, and then I put this on the bolt head. I know places rent these too. So, but most commonly, the steering wheel pullers won't have those hooks in there. They'll have these bolts and just this. You need the hooks. Either way, hopefully this will inspire you to where you can get out and do this yourself. I don't know what places charge.
It says what this works for.
Gotcha. I know everybody's trying to stretch their dollars a little further nowadays. Try to save as much money as you can. This is not a complicated or hard job. Honestly, if you've ever done any wrenching, this can be done by you. I think even if you haven't, honestly, as long as you just go at it and just pay attention, I think about anybody could do this. I was actually trying to get our son to do this, but he has other things going on, so.
The most expensive thing is going to be the part. The Mopar ones right now are like $600. This is a Crown Automotive one from Quadratech. It was $198.02 or something after tax and shipping.
Yep. Which I would probably go OEM if you can spend the money. I think this was a cheap one too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the same exact one. But the problem is that cruise control module fries those. It like throws the steering angle sensor codes and everything. So this may have gone further had the cruise control module not fried it. But
we'll know because now we got another one in here, and I'm not hooking that cruise module to this. I already pulled the wires back down. So now this is, as far as the steering wheel goes, the Jeep thinks it's all stock.
Yep.
Another thing too, well, no, I already said I would probably go with the Mopar one, but we'll see how this one goes. Because really it's just inside here there's a ribbon. I guess it doesn't really matter how to see it, but there's a ribbon inside that spins around, and if you spin too much it'll rip it. But it essentially is sending the signal from here in and reading it and doing all that, and it's making it go crazy in this on this one. So don't forget.
Oh, turn around! Turn around!
Oh, I'm gonna make some people angry.
Don't hunch over.
Oh, well, whatever. Can you see it? Can you read it?
Yes.
Ha! Anyways, yeah. So check out our merch. We'll leave links. Got hats, all that good stuff. Patches. Our patches. Everybody loves our patches. They're nice. So check that out. If you like what we're doing, you want to support us otherwise or help us out different, you can do the Patreon, gain access to all of our campsites and all that, early releases.
And also what's going on the other side of the hood.
Yeah, we don't have the hood open to unhook the battery, as you have noticed.
Battery.
But that's going to be another video, and that one's going to be pretty sick. So you have to check out the next video. Well, I don't have to be next, but you know, keep your eyes open. There's some changes coming. Some needed changes.
And like, subscribe, share.
Yeah, because this could be a bone stock little cutie pie little Jeep that your cousin has.
That's funny. Hannah.
But so this applies to JKs. Now, this is a 17. There are some variances. Otherwise, it's the same process. Maybe your steering wheel is a little different. Same process. So
we said we would give you an update on the Crown Automotive clock spring that I ordered from Quadratech for less than $200. It stopped working after 2 weeks exactly of being installed from when you're watching this video. I had reached out to Quadratech and I had said, hey, clock spring I just purchased 2 weeks ago has stopped working. We did not put the cruise control module on it. I'm done with that thing. I'm tired of replacing these once a year. I have J-Scan, as you have seen in the Power Wagon ABS video, and it will read the clock spring. It'll read the degrees and it'll read if the clock spring is initiated or if it's not working. I don't have any footage of that. I didn't even think about it because it's been super hot, and the way this thing has been acting and then doing it again after 2 weeks, I just wanted to confirm what it was and be done with it. It has been 1 week as of yesterday since I reached out to Quadratech simply asking for a replacement clock spring. They told me they would not give me one because it was already installed. And I said, I just purchased this 2 weeks ago. I can send diagnostics showing that it's not working. The person that I was talking to on the customer service side said, I'll talk to my manager and I'll reach back out to you in 1 to 2 business days. I reached out the following Wednesday, so 2 business days later, and I was told I was supposed to hear something from them by the end of the business day. I still have not heard something, and it's been almost a week since I last reached out to them. We went to AutoZone and bought a Dorman Automotive clock spring. It is about $100 cheaper than the Mopar one. The reason we went with AutoZone is because it has a limited lifetime warranty. AutoZone typically, at least in our area, if it says lifetime warranty, it's a lifetime warranty. They will replace it, no questions asked. Even brake pads, they're a wearable item. If you bought the lifetime warranty brake pads, AutoZone will replace the lifetime warranty brake pads. So as of right now, the clock spring from AutoZone has been on my Jeep for 24 hours. Jared replaced it yesterday. I went and drove it for probably 30 minutes with the JScan app up, and I was waiting for my dash to go dead like it was at the beginning of the video, and it never did anything. So we're going to keep an eye on it. If it fails again, we'll reach out to you guys, and then we'll probably reach out to Dean and get a Mopar one. But either way, the cruise control module is not going back on, so just wanted to let you guys know the update because we said we would.